For our final group project, we decided to examine an industry that many of us interact with on a daily basis, the National Football League. Although on first thought, football, and specifically the NFL, may not seem to be the most technologically involved industry, that could not be further from the truth. We are going to take a look at how technology is changing the game as we know it. Technology is impacting the National Football League in many different ways. However, we are going to hone in on four specific aspects: safety, the sideline, the fan experience, and fantasy football. Let's first take a look at how GE and Under Armour are partnering with the NFL to improve player safety and how technology is making a lasting impact. GE and Under Armour joined with the U.S. Department of Commerce's National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, to launch Head Health Challenge 3, an open competition to advance materials that better absorb or dissipate energy. Head Health Challenge 1 focused on discovering imaging and algorithms that will be better able to detect and analyze subtle changes in the brain. Head Health Challenge 2 focused on new materials and technologies that can protect the brain from traumatic brain injury and new tools for tracking head impacts in real time. The Head Health Initiative is a $60 million collaboration between GE and the NFL launched in March of 2013, $40 million of which is to develop disruptive imaging technologies to improve diagnosis of mild traumatic brain injury. $20 million of which is to address better ways to improve diagnosis, prognosis, and protection from brain injury. In July, the NFL and GE announced the final 6 winners of the Head Health Challenge. Banyan Biomakers Inc. for developing a point-of-care blood test to rapidly detect the presence of mild and moderate brain trauma to improve the medical management of head-injured patients. BrainScope Company Inc., in collaboration with the Purdue Neurotrauma Group, they conducted a study of athletes using both neuroimaging tools as well as BrainScope's urgent care, handheld, EEG-based traumatic injury detection technology to screen for vulnerability and susceptibility to concussions. Medical College of Wisconsin, using MRI scanning technology, researchers at the Medical College of Wisconsin are determining the direct effects of sports-related concussions on brain structure and function. Quanterix, for developing simple blood tests to aid in the detection of traumatic brain injury. Using its Simoa technology, Quanterix is able to measure molecular signatures of brain injury in blood. University of California, Santa Barbara. UCSB Brain Imaging Center, in collaboration with faculty in the computer sciences, is developing statistical models to detect damage to the deep connections in the brains of patients after a mild head injury. And finally, University of Montana identified blood-based biomarkers to indicate how brain reacts following a traumatic brain injury, or TBI. Next, let's examine how the NFL has partnered with Microsoft to make impacts for both coaches and the fans of the game. Microsoft Surface is now the official tablet of the NFL. It has replaced black and white bird's eye view printouts that teams had used previously. It provides more flexibility through a sideline viewing system that allows coaches to zoom in, make notes, and review entire plays. It also has faster response as images are made available on the Surface up to 30 seconds faster than with typical printouts. The Surface also allows for medical and safety staff assistance. The tablets are used to diagnose head trauma with a 2X Biosystems concussion assessment app that allows doctors to compare player answers to a specific set of questions before and after a possible injury. Xbox One. Xbox One is now the exclusive NFL app that provides unlimited access to NFL content. Xbox One also provides a score ticker and updates on a sidebar that can be viewed when watching something else or playing a video game. Xbox One also gives users the ability to create a personalized viewer experience with custom fantasy football tracking and team and player specific highlights. Microsoft is also sponsoring a competition called the Imagine Bowl, in which fans are being asked to help brainstorm ways in which to improve the fan experience via technological innovation. Microsoft has identified 3 categories for fan submissions: at the game, on the field, and in the living room. At the game focuses on ideas that can make the in-stadium game day experiences even better for fans traveling to see their favorite teams on game day. On the field deals with things like how can technology improve the game for NFL coaches, players, referees, or anyone else involved on game day. And finally, in the living room deals with how the NFL can be improved for fans when you're not going to the games. The top 3 ideas will win a trip to Super Bowl 50, and the winning idea is even going to win $50,000. This competition shows Microsoft's commitment to technological innovation in the NFL going into the future. Microsoft and the NFL are also expanding their current partnership by working together to bring more technologies to the NFL and create a more interactive product for fans to enjoy. Some of the ways in which they are pioneering innovations are next generation statistics, as well as the Microsoft HoloLens. Next Gen Stats, as it's called, uses RFID tags the size of a quarter to provide never before seen statistics. These tags track players' top speed, total distance traveled, distance from other players, acceleration, and other movement-based statistics. The data can even be laid over a video replay to provide a video game-like view of player movements. Recent next-gen statistics showed that Week 11 of the NFL season had 4 players score touchdowns on plays where the ball carrier traveled at more than 20 miles per hour. The Microsoft HoloLens is bringing virtual reality to fans. The HoloLens is a virtual reality headset that allows users to place holograms into their physical environment. The technology is at its infancy stage, but the NFL and Microsoft have already been working on fan applications. The Director of Sport and Alliances at Microsoft, who is in charge of the NFL partnership, sees a use for fan applications immediately. Just think, what if you're checking out stats and all of a sudden... Finally, let's take a look at how the NFL Network, DirecTV, and NFL Red Zone are changing not only how fans consume the game of football, but how fantasy football fans follow, track, and calculate their scores each and every week. In partnership with the NFL, DirecTV launched the NFL.com Fantasy Football Television application. Users can now see their weekly matchups in their fantasy leagues, get in-game scores and injury status of their fantasy players, and see detailed head-to-head scoring for their weekly matchups, all progressing in real time. The best part about all of this is the user is uninterrupted from viewing the games in live action on their television or tablet. DirecTV, in partnership with NFL.com, have made the application's user experience seamless. Rather than creating a clunky user interface where you have to log in and manually select your fantasy players on a weekly basis, all that a user has to do is input their NFL.com fantasy login information, and the application does all of the work for them, bringing in their player information for their team as well as the rest of their league. NFL Red Zone is also changing how fantasy football players everywhere consume the game of football. NFL Red Zone's claim to fame is every touchdown from every game, giving viewers the opportunity to track all of their players from every game, as well as their scoring opportunities from a fantasy football standpoint, all in real time. The NFL, in realization that fantasy football is by far one of the league's greatest marketing tools, has created the ultimate product for fantasy football players everywhere by allowing them a lens into each and every scoring opportunity, as well as tracking real-time statistics and fantasy scores from around the league. While the games are playing, NFL Red Zone is constantly compiling and aggregating player statistics in order to derive real-time scoring and player ranks for all of the fantasy positions and displaying them for viewers on a scrolling ticker. This can only be accomplished through the use of big data platforms on the back end to house, manipulate, and distribute the data. Clearly, the NFL has realized that as more and more fans are flocking to fantasy football, using technology as a means to create a meaningful viewing experience for the casual fan, as well as the avid fantasy football enthusiast, is key to the future success of the league. To wrap up, the NFL on the surface may not seem like a technology powerhouse, but they have clearly recognized the power of technology as a means to improving the game and making the experience more enjoyable for fans everywhere.